Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're embarking on a pretty incredible 9 months Etwinning journey to discover the invisible connections that unite our incredibly diverse European societies. This project, which is called Cultural Echoes, Unseen Threads, Shared Heritage, literally takes students across the continent on a step-by-step expedition. But here's the catch. Instead of just looking at grand, famous monuments, we're diving right into the living, beating heartbeat of these local communities. Okay, let's dive into this by confronting the central philosophical question that lies at the very heart of this entire exploration into European cultural heritage. Are we really so different? You know, when we look across borders, it's so easy to just see the different languages, the different foods, the different histories. But this whole project is built on the hypothesis that underneath all those surface-level differences, there are unseen threads, shared practices and core beliefs that weave us all together into one much larger cultural tapestry. To actually answer that question, we're going to walk step by step through the project's chronological roadmap. We'll be covering 1. The invisible European threats, 2. Team building and defining heritage, 3. Research and AI fusion, 4. Logos and co-creation, and 5. Sharing our cultural echoes. Section 1. The invisible European threads, navigating the 7-phase roadmap. Now, what's really interesting about this visual is how it maps the 7 distinct phases we're going to explore. Look at those winding, interconnected lines. They perfectly symbolize the whole point of the project. It's not some rigid, straight path. It's a dynamic weaving of ideas. From the initial icebreaking in Phase 1 all the way down to the final dissemination in Phase 7, this roadmap makes sure that students aren't just memorizing facts in a vacuum. Instead, they're continuously building on each other's discoveries to create a massive shared digital archive. Section 2. Team building and defining heritage, Phases 1 and 2. So in Phase 1, before any of the heavy research actually begins, it is all about breaking the ice. Students jump onto the TwinSpace platform for these virtual meet and greets, they get to create personal avatars, and they jump into a really fun game of 2 truths and a lie about their hometowns using a Padlet. They also take an initial questionnaire about cultural stereotypes. And this phase is absolutely vital, right? Because you just can't build a massive collaborative archive without first building trust and forging those real, genuine international relationships. Which brings us to Phase 2. The crucial point here is that students collaborate to define a very specific type of heritage. They aren't looking for famous castles or giant statues. No, they're looking for intangible cultural heritage. We're talking about local farming techniques, a super specific town festival, or maybe an old folk song. By defining this together, the students can then form specialized international working teams focused on distinct themes, like a team rituals or a team crafts. They get their research focus totally aligned before they even step out into the field. Section 3. Research and AI fusion, Phases 3 and 4. Phase 3 is all about local documentation. Basically, each national group acts as cultural detectives right in their own backyards. They research and document 2 or 3 specific examples of local intangible heritage. Then, they take what they learn and transform it into short digital presentations. Think quick videos, cool infographics, or even mini podcasts. And the capstone of this phase? It's a thrilling mid-project live virtual meeting where every single school proudly presents one major finding to their international peers. Now, let's move to Phase 4 and see how all this builds. Honestly, this is where the magic really happens. They call it the analogy hunt. Now that everyone has shared their local traditions, the international teams sit down in collaborative sessions to look for patterns. They categorize the data, map the connections, and suddenly, a farming ritual in Italy might look strikingly similar to a seasonal festival in Poland. They are actively finding analogies between traditions from entirely different countries, basically proving that those invisible threads really do exist. And to visualize those connections, Phase 4 introduces this brilliantly innovative AI fusion task. After getting workshop training on artificial intelligence tools, each team uses an AI image generator. They blend their connected heritage findings together to create a specialized, co-created bookmark and poster. It is just a fantastic fusion of ancient, intangible history with cutting-edge modern technology. Section 4. Logos and co-creation, Phases 5 and 6. As we enter the back half of the journey, Phase 5 introduces democratic co-creation. The students actually get to brand their own project. Each class works together to prepare and present one project logo proposal. But here is the absolute genius part of the voting process. Students vote for their favorite logo via Google Forms, but they are completely forbidden from voting for their own class's design. This guarantees they have to critically appreciate and support the work of their international partners. And the winner? That becomes the official face of Cultural Echoes. Section 5. Sharing our cultural echoes. Phases 6 and 7. Phase 6 brings us to the grand finale, the culmination of this entire 9-month journey, the interactive digital archive. All those multinational teams like Team Rituals and Team Crafts now contribute their ultimate deep dive chapters. They pull together all their text, their local media, their oral histories, and those incredible AI fusion images they generated, collaboratively building a single unified digital home for European shared heritage. And you guys, this archive is not just some static PDFs or a boring list of facts. It functions as a highly interactive multimedia map. It's thematically organized and richly integrated with images, audio, and video. But the coolest part is definitely the clickable map, where anyone, students, parents, teachers, can click through to actively explore the amazing similarities between European nations. Plus, because it preserves these oral histories and traditions multilingually, it is a true reflection of the continent's diversity. Finally, Phase 7 joyfully wraps up the project. They publish the archive, sharing it with their school communities, local museums, and all across social media. But there's also a vital evaluation step here. The students take a final questionnaire, the exact same one they took on day 1, to scientifically measure exactly how much their cultural perceptions and stereotypes have evolved over the 9 months. The whole journey concludes with a celebratory final live meet, reviewing the project and exchanging heartfelt goodbye posters. As you explore the Cultural Echoes archive yourself, I want to leave you with this thought. Look closely at your own community's rituals, crafts, and festivals. You know, it's so easy to think of our local traditions as uniquely ours, isolating us from the rest of the world. But consider how they might secretly weave you into a much larger, global family. Next time you celebrate a local holiday, ask yourself, what invisible threads are tying you to someone hundreds of miles away? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.